Now, when they brought you on board, when did they kind of clue you into what was really going on in this town?
Well, it's funny, they didn't. I mean, I could have gone and dug up the books and read the entire book series and understood what was going to happen, but I didn't. And they didn't explain to me. There's a big shift happens right about at the point we're at now in the series, like around the 5th episode of the first 10. And it starts off, you think it's just this creepy little mountain town and everybody's in on something and you're not quite sure what. But around the 5th episode, then, like, you know, the door opens and you get to see what's really going on. And they didn't explain that to me going in. And I kind of, once we got to that point working on the series, I kind of was giving the showrunner and the producers a hard time. I was like, man, why didn't you tell me? I might have been able to hint at some of this more epic scale and scope of this show in the earlier episodes. And they were like, that's why we didn't tell you. So they on purpose they liked the fact that the music in the first few episodes was kind of different from where we go from the middle of the series on, and that the first few episodes had music that was sort of claustrophobic and almost like it's happening inside Matt Dillon's head as he's kind of coming out of his fog. And so it was partly an accident, partly due to my laziness in not adequately researching and reading the whole way through the series, but as it turns out, that actually helped, because I might have accidentally hinted at some of this bigger scope if I had known. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because as I look at the music across all the 10 episodes of this series, the music in the first few is very different from where it winds up. And it turns into this big, epic, major situation. And in the first couple of episodes, it's just small sounds and they're unsteady. There's no drums, and that definitely changes as we move through the series, though.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask about kind of the evolution of the sound from the first episode to the last. Can you talk a little bit about that, and maybe kind of what inspired you to like make certain musical choices along the way?
Well, like I was saying, the first few episodes is really about Matt Dillon's character, Ethan, coming out of this brain injury from this car wreck. And even in the first episode, you're almost not sure, because they cut back and forth through time, you're not sure if maybe he's just in the hospital bed and he's dreaming all this and this isn't really taking place. So I tried to make the first few episodes, there's kind of three things that work. One is the out of tune, kind of fractured and unsteady sound of Matt Dillon's character, like staggering down the street and sort of being unsteady on his feet, and trying to also marry that with, you know, I kind of have this theory sometimes that certain musical sounds sound like they're indoors or they're outdoors or they're inside somebody's head. And so definitely in the first couple episodes, I'm concentrating much more on inside the head sounds or indoors sounds. And then as the series moves on and the scope of the story gets much bigger, then I started adding things like sort of epic outdoors sounding drums and bigger, more expansive epic sounds into the score, and kind of also reduce the amount of those inside the head type of sounds, but I kept a few of them that just to provide some kind of continuity through the whole series. Some of those sounds that I'd introduced in the first couple episodes are there the whole way through, but kind of the underpinnings get pulled away and replaced by these more epic and large-scale sound approach.